Hey guys, welcome back, and welcome if you're new. I'm so glad that you're here today. We are gonna sit down. I can't believe I'm filming this video. It's crazy, but we're gonna sit down and I'm gonna share just a health journey update. If you don't know, if you're new, I have been on a health journey since January of 2023. Now it is October, the end of October, so we're rounding out the year, which is crazy. And I wanted to just kind of take some time, reflect, answer questions that I get asked quite often in comments and in DMs on Instagram, and just have a place to be able to look back on and share this first year and what the journey looked like, how I lost a little over 80 pounds so far in the year, what I did, how I did it naturally with just diet and exercise. And yeah, we're gonna sit down and talk about all of that today. I'm super excited. I will put a big disclaimer on this video. Please bear with me. I am definitely out of my comfort zone here. I am not a licensed healthcare professional, a doctor, dietitian, any of those things. So please seek medical advice before you change your diet and lifestyle. I am just a regular person. I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I've been on this journey now for a little over 9 months, and I can say that my life looks so different, and I'm so thankful for the journey. So I just want to share what's worked for me. And I know what worked for me may not work for everyone, but I thought if I can encourage somebody today, then this video will be worth it. So if you're excited to hear about my health journey, how I got started, what I've done, and what it's looked like over the last 9 months, be sure to get comfortable today. Maybe grab a snack or a coffee because it might be a longer one, and let's get started. So before we dive into the how I lost the weight, let's backtrack a little bit and talk about the why, and really just talk about my life prior to January 2023. So in my childhood and adolescence and even into my young adult life, I was not overweight. I did not have a history of being overweight. I lived a very active, busy lifestyle. My diet was not perfect by any means, but I was never overweight. And in fact, I played college tennis, and prior to that, I trained at a very high caliber as a junior competitive tennis player. So I was not new to the concept of training my body, of physical exercise at all. But life happens. You graduate from college, you get married, you settle down, and the weight probably crept a little bit at a time, maybe year by year. Maybe it was 5 pounds or 2 pounds. But it wasn't until after having 3 babies in 3 years that my body really started to put on weight. I noticed that I was eating all the same things, but my pants weren't fitting. And I was really struggling to bounce back after my 3rd baby. And then you mix that with being postpartum and the pandemic hitting, and I was just not living an active lifestyle at that point. And I put on, in the span of about 2 years, I think I put on about 60 pounds or so, give or take. You know, over time, I let that weight slowly creep up on me until a point where it started getting very noticeable. All of a sudden, my size went up several numbers. I was having to shop in the plus size section for the first time in my life. I was so ashamed and insecure in my body for the first time ever. And, you know, I let it get to a point that I'm just really, like, to this day, I can't believe it even happened. And so at my heaviest, granted, I'm 5'6", to give you some context. At my heaviest, I got to about 230 pounds, which I'll share, you know, some before clips here. And funny enough, I don't have that many before photos because I never thought I'd lose weight ever. But obviously this is vulnerable for me to share, but you know, this is where I was at. This was the reality. I was putting on weight like crazy. I felt like my hormones were really out of balance. I was no longer getting a period. Crazy things were happening to my body and I could feel it. My knees hurt. Things that shouldn't be happening in your late 20s and early 30s started happening. And I was scared. I was scared for my health and I was insecure and I didn't want to be the mom on the sidelines. Growing up, I dreamed of having children someday and I had them. I had these 3 beautiful children, these blessings, and I wanted to be an active mom so bad. I didn't want to waste the younger years on the sidelines, missing out, playing with them, running with them, hiking with them, biking with them, doing all the fun active things with them because of my insecurity and because of the weight I put on. And I think I just kind of got to a breaking point. I got on the scale for the first time in a very long time, saw that number of, I think it was 228 pounds was my technical starting weight. And I just couldn't believe it. And I talked to Caleb, my husband, and I said, you know what? Something needs to change. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. And so that's really kind of the backstory and the buildup of getting to the beginning and the rest of all the good stuff. So that's everything leading up to January of 2023 and kind of where I was at. So like I just said, that was everything leading up to the weight gain, getting to kind of my highest point. And really it was a combination of things that brought me to my why and getting started. Like I said, I really wanted to just be healthy for my kids more than anything. Also healthy for myself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And now I know for a fact that if I'm healthy, if I'm doing the right things, if I'm taking the time for myself, then in turn, I'm gonna be a better mom and a better wife. I didn't realize that before. And a big part of that was, mental health and finding a lot of hope in therapy. And I've talked about them several times on my channel recently, and I'm so grateful to them for wanting to partner with me specifically in this video today. But I wanted to just take a quick second before we dive into the rest of the video and thank today's video sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is on a mission to make therapy more affordable and accessible, because I know I live in a rural area and finding therapy in my area, not an easy task. I'm also a major homebody, so being able to find therapy in the comfort of my own home is a huge perk when looking for someone to talk to. I love that I can just be at home in my PJs on the couch in my comfortable space. To be vulnerable and be open has been a game changer, and I cannot thank my therapist enough. She's really shown me on this health journey that as women, we juggle so much. Our kids, our husbands, our homes, our jobs, our health, and our stuff we got going on. You cannot juggle it all effectively without first caring for yourself mentally and physically. And I'm just so grateful to her, and I feel like you guys deserve this therapy too. I think anyone and everyone can benefit from therapy, and I'm so grateful for BetterHelp for helping me find a great therapist. But all you have to do to get matched with a therapist is go down to the link in my description. You will fill out a few questions and you will be matched with a therapist in as little as just a couple of days. And just so you know, finding a therapist can be a little bit like dating. You might have to try a couple of out before you find the right match and find that person that just really gels well with you, that you feel comfortable with, because that's really important too. We'll spend hours in the gym every week, myself included. Why not give your mind that kind of attention? I just think that mindset shift is important to have. So if you're interested in therapy, consider BetterHelp. Again, use that link down in my description below, betterhelp.com/Amy Fritz. Not only will you get 10% off by clicking the link in my description on your first month's therapy, but you'll also be supporting me and my channel, and I'm forever grateful to you. So again, a big thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. The first thing I did when getting started was telling someone. That is the number one tip I could recommend. If anything worked for me in this process, it was tell someone, maybe tell 2 people, get some accountability. Not only did I have a heart-to-heart with my husband, which was very helpful and very sweet, but I told a friend. I told a friend where I was at. I told a friend what my goals were and what I wanted. But when you have accountability, when you have, someone you can just text once a day and say, hey, how's it going? I chose this for lunch today and I'm feeling really good about it. Or I drank my water today. How are you doing? That helps so much, whether it's a loved one, a friend, a relative, whoever it might be. Find yourself a buddy to do the journey with, because we weren't meant to do it alone, and you need support, you need community, you need somebody to come alongside you and help you on the journey. So that would be my number one tip in getting started, is tell someone. The next thing I would say, if you want to get started on a health journey or you have some weight to lose, is to start tracking everything that you eat and consume in a day. Even before you change your diet, don't change anything. Just for a week, track everything on an app like MyFitnessPal. That's what I use. I use the free version, just to see where you're at. It's hard to know what your deficit is at or what your surplus is at if you don't know how many calories you're consuming on any given day. It might feel super tedious at first, but once you get a hang of it and know, oh, I know how much this is, it's a breeze. It takes 2 minutes, for each meal time maybe, and you have to track thoroughly. Let's say you had sauteed green beans. That's a great example. Someone might put in green beans, which is only 30 calories for a cup, but you have to factor in, did you use a tablespoon of butter? That's another 100 calories. Did you use 2 tablespoons of olive oil? That's another couple hundred calories. You have to add everything that you cook with, and like I said, sounds tedious, but just do it for a week just to see where you're at, and you might be blown away by what your surplus is, or how little maybe you're eating. Maybe you're not eating enough. You don't know until you track it. So just do it for a week and see where you're at. But once you do that, once you kind of see, I would encourage you, go to calculator.net. I'll put it right here and I will link it down in the description below. But this is the tool that I used to find my calories depending on what my goal is. So you go to the link, you put in your weight, your height, your age, your gender, all that good stuff, and it will give you what your maintenance calories are. It'll give you your calorie for mild weight loss, for extreme weight loss. There's a bunch of different ones, and you can just track depending on what your goals are. So I tracked everything. I went into that website, I figured out my numbers, and I just stuck with it. No matter what. Of course, I enjoyed a treat every once in a while, but I just factored it in on the day as a whole. I would not go over that number no matter what. And over a period of time, if you're in a deficit of 500 calories, 1,000 calories, over several months, you're gonna see the weight come off. That's just basic science. Track every little thing you put in your mouth for a week. Figure out, where you're at. Then I would encourage you to keep tracking as you're trying to lose weight. You would be amazed at the number of calories and things you just don't think about. The numbers really add up. So if anybody comes to me now and says, hey, I want to lose a few pounds, what should I do? Track your calories. Gotta track them. It's not fun, but you gotta do it. Okay, so we talked about tracking, we talked about getting accountability. What's next? I would say another huge factor in my weight loss early on was setting a goal for myself to drink a gallon of water a day. Say half of your weight in ounces should be your water intake on any given day. I started swapping any and all drinks that I was consuming. Granted, I was consuming a lot of calories and sugary things like sweet tea and soda. And so just swapping those out for water alone, I think I would have seen the scale start to drop. Really limiting the liquid calorie consumption other than the occasional coffee drink. And I did still have my coffee in the morning, but other than that, water, and lots of it. Lots of water. I had a relative that her and I would text each other our water every morning, and we would make sure that we were drinking our gallon, and we would hold each other accountable. Again, going back to that accountability, it worked wonders. Drinking water. I just leave a mason jar right by my fridge, and anytime I go into the kitchen, I fill it up 8 ounces, chug it back, and just get it in. And I found that works really well for me. Just finding simple ways to get more water in. If you like sparkling water, that's another great way. I love Spindrift because it has natural fruit juice in it. But some of the other ones are fine too, of course. We always keep the fridge stocked with lots of sparkling water and just consume a ton of it. I got a lot of questions about, did I follow any specific diet? What foods did you eat? Did you do intermittent fasting? Kind of all of that stuff I'm going to group together. We talked about calorie counting, which is separate in my opinion. But now let's really talk about the diet changes that I made. I did not follow a specific diet. I did not follow keto or carnivore or low carb or, I don't know, whatever, paleo. I didn't follow anything like that. I will say I aimed for, and still do aim for, high protein. So I aim for, right now, about 100 grams of protein a day. That is crucial to fat loss, and I'm also lifting more weights now, so it's just more beneficial in that aspect. But high protein, lots of fiber through cooked veggies, through raw veggies, through fruits, whole grains. I got a lot of comments about me being low carb, which is true. I will say at dinner time, I aim for a lower carb diet. I stick to lean meats and veggies for dinner just because I found that makes me feel better the next day. I aim to get most of my carb consumption at breakfast and lunch right now. But I was not following anything specific. And that's the beauty of kind of calorie counting versus following a diet to me, was that if I wanted to eat a sandwich with bread, I could eat a sandwich with bread. I just had to track it. If I wanted to eat a piece of pizza, I could. I just had to track it. But overall, I would say I cut out a ton of processed food. I tried to limit fried foods. I really tried to eat lots of whole food nutrition and really focused on the things I could have and the things I wanted to enjoy versus restricting myself to any specific food group. Aside from that, I got a lot of questions about intermittent fasting and how that worked and if I'm still doing it, if I'm still enjoying it. So it's hard being this far in, like 9 months into the journey. The intermittent fasting has changed a lot, but going back to when I first started on my journey, yes, it worked beautifully. It helped me eat less because I was eating 2 meals a day instead of 3. So in theory, of course, you're going to cut your calories by 1/3 in concept doing intermittent fasting. And it helped me prevent nighttime snacking. It got me out of the habit of nighttime snacking, which I think is the biggest win for intermittent fasting for me personally. My fasting window was 6 p.m. to 11 a.m. every day, and it worked really beautifully for me. What am I doing now? I would say is more intuitive eating. In the morning, if I am not hungry, I continue my fast, which I do still start around 6 p.m. most nights. I will continue my fast and just wait until lunch and have a really high protein, big kind of lunch brunch around 11 o'clock. If I wake up now in the morning and I lift weights and I go for a run and I come home and it's 9 o'clock and I am ravenous and starving, I eat. So now it looks a little bit different, but I will say at the beginning, it worked really beautiful for me in helping me stay in a calorie deficit, and it also helped me with nighttime snacking. And speaking of snacking, you have to find hacks, you have to find things that you love and enjoy eating. And you have to find healthy alternatives at some of your favorite places to eat. That was crucial to me. For instance, my kids, my family, we love Chick-fil-A. We're big Chick-fil-A fans in the Fritz house. And it's funny looking back, my typical Chick-fil-A order prior to 2023 was a spicy chicken sandwich meal. So you figure fried chicken, white bun, large fry, always got a large fry, and a Dr. Pepper, which a large Dr. Pepper probably had 300 calories alone, and who knows so many grams of sugar, right? It was probably easily a 1,500 calorie meal, and I was eating it all the time with the kids and the family. Now, we don't go quite as often, and when we do go to Chick-fil-A, my typical order is a grilled sandwich meal. I take off the bun and use lettuce. It's just as delicious to me. I still put sauce on it, the honey roasted barbecue sauce. I get a side salad instead of fries for my side, but then I get a small fry so that I can nibble on a couple little fries just to enjoy it. And I either get a diet lemonade or a diet soda or a water, something that's 0 calorie in my beverage. So I went from regularly eating a high fat, high sugar, high carb, starchy, like 1,600 calorie meal there once or twice a week to now eating a 600 calorie meal that's high protein and has some fiber in it. And so I'm still enjoying the same foods. I'm still getting a few bites of waffle fries. I'm still getting the sauce and the chicken. It just looks different. And finding ways to modify your favorite foods really is a game changer. That was kind of one silly example, but like I love buffalo chicken, anything. I love wings. And one thing that I do all the time is I use a carb-friendly tortilla and I make a buffalo chicken pizza with rotisserie chicken and buffalo sauce and a little cheese. It's low calorie, it's high protein. I eat it for lunch all the time. Finding ways to make your favorite foods just a little bit healthier, that really helps. Let's talk now about exercise. So this is probably the question I get asked the most often about actually in the weight loss journey. My exercise journey has been amazing. I'm so grateful. And I think more than anything, I have truly fallen in love with fitness again, with health again, with running again, we'll get into. And I've shared a couple of clips here and on Instagram of kind of what my exercise journey has looked like and has been. But when I got started in January, like I mentioned, I was significantly overweight for my height. I was very out of shape and I could not, run or jog or anything like that. So a friend of mine and I, we met at the gym 3 mornings a week and we walked. At first, it was just a nice brisk walk. Then as time went on, I started increasing the incline, which gives you such a great workout. I don't know if you guys have heard of the 3-12-30. It's a very popular treadmill workout. It's 3 miles per hour at 10 incline for 30 minutes. If you are someone who's not in shape to run or jog, or maybe you just don't have a desire to run or jog, that's okay too. This high resistance incline walking on a treadmill is a game changer. I got in shape pretty quickly. I mean, the weight hadn't come off yet, but I could feel myself getting in better and better shape every single time I got on the treadmill. So that was just 3 days a week when I first started, maybe 4, for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden the weather turned, right? It's April, it's May, and here in Ohio, that means we can finally be outside and enjoy some warm weather. And I love springtime. It's like I come alive again. All of the seasonal depression starts to wear off. Although I will say having a health focus at the new year really helped my seasonal depression this year. I think I'm going to kind of do a reset every year, hopefully forever, and just kind of stay focused on that through the winter to give me something to focus on. But spring rolled around, the weather got nicer, and I started going outside. And I was at that time working out alone, and I started kind of walking outside. I'd go for a brisk walk here or there, and then one day I was like, I should start running again, just kind of out of nowhere. And because I had been doing so much incline walking, I was in decent shape. I just kind of started jogging just little bits here and there. It may have been 10 minutes at a time, and then I just walk, or run 5 minutes and then walk. I just did what my body could. I pushed myself a little bit, of course, but nothing crazy, nothing out of this world. And by the end of the month, like I said, I think I started the end of April. By the end of May, I was running probably about 3 miles or so at any given time at a nice slow pace. But for me, running 3 miles was huge. I hadn't run in years. And so I decided to do something that would terrify me, which it did. And I went ahead and I said, you know what? I need something to push me. I need something to motivate me all summer. So I went ahead and I signed up for a fall half marathon. Being the girl that just a month prior was kind of walking still and just doing little 5-minute jogs, signed up for a half marathon. I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I can't run it, so I walk it, right? Like, that's literally the worst that could happen. Just sign up, do it, scared. So I did. It was the end of May. I signed up. The race was on September 10th. And so that gave me kind of a tunnel vision focus all summer. I found some running plans on Pinterest. Nothing super professional or fancy about them. I just kind of found a few and implemented all of them into one and ran anywhere from 2 to 5 miles a day, Monday through Friday. I'd run probably 3 or 4 times. And then on Saturdays or Sundays, depending on the weekend, I would do one long run. And it started at like 4 miles, I think was my first long run, working my way all the way up to 13 miles, or 12 miles, I'm sorry, was the longest I got it. And so it's amazing, just 1 week at a time, building up your endurance, adding on that mile to your long run. And before I knew it, I was able to run 6 miles pretty comfortably, then 8 miles. And I would be fatigued, but I could do it. And then in turn during the week, my shorter runs turned into 4, 5, or 6 miles because I was building up that endurance and just truly falling in love with running again. And I found that for me, it just gives me such an endorphin high. I definitely get runner's high. I find that it gives me a ton of mental clarity. I find that it's very cathartic, therapeutic to just put in my AirPods, listen to some good music or a good podcast and just run. And it really is kind of my me time as a mom. It's the time in the day where I can just be and I can just go and I can just do, and it's been incredible. Then sure enough, race day rolled around and I ran my half marathon, so 13.1 miles, and I did it in 1 hour and 52 minutes. And sub 2 was kind of a goal of mine in the back of my head, but I never told anyone that. So finishing it at 1:52 was awesome. I actually ended up placing 3rd in my age group. So that was incredible. Such a fun testament and just a fun experience that hopefully I'll continue to do. I have another race coming up in January, and I've just kind of found I enjoy training for a race. It keeps me accountable. It's fun, it's competitive, and it's just something that works. And I say all of that to say, you don't have to start training for marathons to get in shape or to exercise. I think the moral of this story, my story, is that you have to find something you love. If you're gonna do it every day or every couple days, you wanna enjoy it. If you love lifting heavy weights, get into strength training. If you don't, that's okay. If you love Pilates, if you love bear classes, if you love spin classes or swimming or yoga, whatever it is, just get moving. Just do something active several times a week and find that thing that you love. And if you haven't, if you found that you don't love something yet, you probably just haven't found it. Keep looking, keep searching, and you will. Find that thing you love, then exercise will never feel like a chore. And I really feel like that's the goal, right? And so find that thing that gets you out the door, that makes you excited. I have found that for me, it's kind of training for races, and I'm just gonna keep doing that while I enjoy it. If there comes a time where I don't enjoy it, then I'll stop and find something else. But for right now, I am running 4 to 5 days a week, and then I lift weights 2 to 3 days a week. Just kind of depends, but I do exercise as much as I can and try to stay fit and healthy. As far as how I stay motivated 9 months in, I think the most motivating thing for me is progress. That keeps me going. Of course, that's also my why. Being more active, having more fun with the kids, feeling good in my skin while doing it is very motivating to want to stay healthy and happy and just feeling good, because really that's what it's about. And there are times where I feel good and the scale doesn't reflect that, and I've learned that that's okay. The scale's gonna go up and down a little bit. It just is. That's life. That's our body, especially as females. But if you're making the right choices and you feel good at the end of the day, nothing else really matters, right? So that's my encouragement to you today. I hope you found this video just fun and helpful, hopefully inspiring. Hopefully you got something from it. I feel like I was a hot mess all over the place talking. I tried to just kind of keep my points, but you know, like I said, I'm no expert. But if you did enjoy today's video, please do me a favor and give it a big thumbs up. Maybe share it with a friend. Also, I have a weekly newsletter. I don't plug it often, but I do share every single week, usually just a little snippet of encouragement, some of my favorite finds on the week, some health and fitness updates there as well. So sign up for that if you haven't, and subscribe if you're new here today. I would love to have you join my YouTube family while I share lots of homemaking and decorating inspiration. I really have had a lot of fun sharing more health, fitness, food related content, and plan to do a lot more in the future. So again, subscribe if you're new. I would love to have you. And I will see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye.